What's the cruelest prank you've ever seen? 20 years ago, a friend of mine was prank kidnapped on Halloween, driven to a cornfield, and left tied up and blindfolded for an hour. Was not funny. The friends that did this actually got some time in prison. One of the guys on my high school track team was pantsed directly in front of the girls from the team. He was not wearing underwear. The person who pantsed him was one of his close friends. Not so much a prank, but in high school, there was a girl who was a part of the spectrum, and she was showing off a dance, and these cheerleaders were clearly laughing at her. The thing is that the girl did not realize they were making fun of her. They told her to do it again, just so they could laugh more. I was 14, and going out to eat with my first girlfriend and my mom at Gym Boys. Just like 90% of 14-year-old males, I suffered from acne pretty bad. We were eating and having a good time, and out of nowhere my mom looks to my girlfriend and asks, "Do you like popping bumps?" My eyes widened. She knew I horrified by her question. My girlfriend just got quiet and her face went red. She then proceeds to say, "What? It's not like she can't see them, and you need someone to do something about them." Then laughed, then got mad no one else thought it was funny, and ruined the rest of the evening. I could never understand doing something like that to my child. There was that YouTube family that was like Daddy of 5 or something, where one of the kids was literally abused constantly. They would do horrible shit to this boy, and then say it was a prank for the channel and he would be absolutely destroyed, and scream he hated YouTube. Anything done as a prank for YouTube, that's almost as bad as child abuse pranking for YouTube. The TV show WB Superstar from the early 2000s. It was a show like American Idol, but they were actually looking for the worst singers. But they told the contestants they were looking for the best singers until the very end of the competition, when they revealed the truth to the winner after their final performance in front of a live audience. Very cruel show. A girl wrote an elaborate letter pretending to be another girl in class and handed it to me. I was shocked to receive my first love letter and felt like garbage when I found out it was fake. I have no idea what radio station this was on as I was only a kid, but they used to do prank phone calls. I have little to no recollection of many of them except this one, as even as a kid I could tell it was just wrong. The radio host rang up a woman and advised that he was the manager of her husband's company, and he was very sorry to tell her that he had been involved in an accident with some heavy machinery and it had resulted in his death. As you would expect, the woman was beside herself with being told her husband had just died. She was wailing on the phone and the radio host couldn't really get another word in to explain it was a joke, and then they just cut off the phone call and played a song. Even as a kid I knew it was a really stupid and cruel idea, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time they did a prank phone call. The girl who hid her boyfriend's wheelchair on YouTube, that shit wasn't funny. I'll never forget it. A buddy and I were on a double date of sorts, though I was mainly winging it for him. The gal I was with, let's call her Kay, shared a heartbreaking story she thought was absolutely hilarious. In high school, Kay and her fellow cheerleaders invited the most ostracized girl in their class to a party as a joke. Said girl was overjoyed and couldn't believe it. She was dirt poor though. She ends up buying a new pair of overpriced jeans for the party and it's obvious. She shows up with some of the tags still on them because she'll have to return them the next day. The cheerleaders notice and begin to plot. The four of us are sitting at dinner as Kay continues to relate what happened, laughing in fits. Someone had spilled an entire glass of red wine on a lover seat at the party. Kay immediately sits down opposite the spill and beckons the poor girl to sit down next to her to chat. She does and immediately ruins the overpriced jeans. Everyone laughs as she runs out the door in tears. Kay casually finished the story as a sizable lump formed in my throat. Sometimes, it's the small sharp cruelties that cut deepest. I remember when the Owls challenge was popular, I read an article about a prank played on a special needs high schooler. These kids told him it was just water in the bucket, but it was also piss, cigarette butts, all sorts of disgusting shit. Then they put the video all over the internet, as though the bucket wasn't enough. A group of 5 boys decided to throw rocks from an overpass at the cars below. One of the rocks ended up going through a carrier's windshield and killed the driver. The boys got charged with second-degree murder. Darren Brown, English illusionist, did a TV show a few years ago. Long story short, he convinced a young lad who had got really drunk the night before that he had killed a girl. They set him up so bad. Psychologically, it looked like they had broken this poor lad. To the point where everything they had set up, actors, set, fake police etc made the lad so convinced that he had killed someone that he handed himself into the fake police station and admitted to a murder. I'll never forget the one tear trickling down this kid's face in the devastation at what he thought he had done. Then bloody Darren Brown appears from behind a screen like a surprise. It was fucking cruel and has stuck with me for a long time. I have actually found a link to it. A friend of a friend in high school had her boyfriend pretend that he'd died. He had one of his friends call her saying he had died in a car accident and had someone else calling up pretending to be a doctor from the hospital. She was hysterical. Later that day, after she kept asking the fake doctor which hospital it was, so she could be there, she found out it was all prank to see if she cared. Horrible. Anyway, they broke up. To this day it's the nastiest prank I've seen in person. My dad told me that when he was a kid, a friend of his gave him a glass of lemonade. It was Drano mixed with something else, and my dad vomited for hours. Thankfully he survived and went on to have kids, but his vocal cords were never the same. I remember seeing a video where they switched the pregnancy test to a fake positive one on their friend struggling with infertility. Fucked up. The Labrant family vloggers told their 5-year-step daughter a few years ago that they were going to have to get rid of their dog because it was not behaving well around the baby as an April's full joke, and posted it on it. I was once prank called by someone, a classmate presumably, and they told me they were going to kill my best friend who was in the same class as me. It was really fucking weird. The school never figured out who it was. They just asked if my friend had any enemies. Bro, we are 11. The daddy of 5 YouTuber pranks. Those weren't pranks. They were child abuse. A friend of mine faked her suicide to get back at her boyfriend for April Fool's Day. I had helped her without knowing she was going that far. Her boyfriend had called her a slut and dumped her when she told him she was pregnant. Donna would miss living in college dorms. Donna would miss either of them. Prank war going on in between 2 houses that were next to each other in San Diego, California circa 2014. My cousin lived in one of the houses and this happened when I went to visit him a few years back. House Hash 1 pulled a prank that led to a member in House Hash 2 being late for his first day of work. It was collateral damage, but the guy ended up getting fired for it. Guy who lost his job came home furious. He then took a 15-pound medicine ball and painted it to look just like a soccer ball. He tossed the medicine ball into the front yard of House Hash 1 and waited. When he saw the guy come out of the house he yells, "Hey Josh, can you kick that ball back over here?" Dude proceeds to take a running start and square up and kick the soccer ball with every ounce of strength he had. Poor bastard went down almost immediately in tears and screaming. Ended up breaking 3 bones in his right foot. Just brutal. In 6th grade I opened my locker and a note from the boy I had a crush on fell out saying he liked me too. A bunch of girls in my grade were there when I found it and were super happy for me, or I thought they were. When I went to the boy to ask him about it, he said he didn't write it, and the group of girls who were there when I found the note had written it. I turned around, and sure enough they're laughing. But it crushed me, not that the boy didn't like me back, but because I didn't think these girls I had gone to school with since 1st grade were that mean. A couple weeks later the group played a similar joke on one of the girls who was actually in on the prank against me, and I got a genuine apology from her after she realized how bad I must have felt. None of the other girls ever apologized. Edit. This comment blew up more than I thought it would haha. Thank you for the awards. Much appreciated. My referee so decided that it would be hilarious to slip me false love letters from a secret admirer until they pull the plug at year's end. I have had trust issues ever since. When I was a kid, somehow my classmates found it funny to piss in other people's cans of soda. I did not have a good childhood. Seen a video of two small girls. One told the other to look at the door knob really close as it distorts your face. She then slammed the door right into her face, hitting her teeth. Someone asked a guy to be her boyfriend. He said yes, and the next day she invited all her friends to tell him that she did it as a joke. Saw a guy tip over the porta potty with someone in it. That memory is clear. I think it was his GF. I just got pregnant. Aren't you happy for Emmy asterisk? Said on April 1st in front of a woman who had a stillbirth a month before. In middle school I was not popular at all. I was an overweight girl with acne and a really weird personality. Popular boys would come up to me all the time to ask me out, only to laugh in my face, no matter the answer. It happened so often that all the other students started to notice and ignore me completely, so they didn't get grouped into all the cruel joke the boys pulled.